Right, we're on. So, Keith, very, very interesting what you've been telling me. Of course, want to explain a little bit about yourself first of all before we begin?
Well, my name is Keith Johnson. I live in Warwick, Rhode Island. I am currently broadcasting from Connecticut at the Warrens Convention, Seekers of the Supernatural. And
Yep.
I have been into the paranormal pretty much all my life. Since I was a young child, I was interested in it. Had some, frightening experiences, but learned to live with it. And my parents brought me up at the Christian religion. And my brother and I, of course, are identical twins. And
Yep.
in our teenage years, we met Ed and Lorraine Warren. And that
is really cool.
was the catalyst that started us on our careers that we can really do this. So after that, after we graduated high school, we had a career. We joined various groups. During high school, actually, we joined PIRO, Parapsychology Investigation. It's actually Parapsychological and Investigation and Research Organization at Rhode Island College.
Yep.
And from there, we joined a group, Monitor East, and we basically freelanced for quite a few years until we were asked to join TAPS, the Atlantic Paranormal Society. You may know from Ghost Hunters, of course, the original series there. And my wife, Sandra, and I have been on Paranormal State as well, that series with Ryan Buell. We've made appearances here and there, such as A Haunting and such as that. And my brother Carl and I are demonologists, and Sandra, of course, has worked many years along with me, and that's basically who I am. And I've authored 3 books, Paranormal Realities 2 and Paranormal Realities 3, and embarking on a new adventure with my new friend, Jared.
It's really interesting because obviously you mentioned about it, and I was like, my first question is for anything, how did you actually come to meet Ed and Lorraine? How did it actually come to happen? Because it's really interesting. Obviously, I'm really a huge fan of them myself.
Oh, yes. Well, we were at a lecture. We attended a lecture, Ed and Lorraine Warren, Seekers of the Supernatural. We didn't know who they were, but we certainly wanted to see their lecture. And we went, my brother Carl and I went with some friends, and Ed and Lorraine, we found it fascinating. We found the lecture incredibly fascinating. And it was kind of interesting when the lecture first started. Ed Warren gave the introduction and asked if anybody would like to see a ghost. And a lot of people raised their hands. And he said, "Good, you've just invited ghosts into your house. But don't be afraid. We prayed for you." He said that nothing will follow you home. And he asked if anybody was seriously involved in the occult in the audience. Well, we were actually, back then, we were probably the youngest people in the audience at the time. With mostly college students. And my brother Carl raised his hand. Ed Warren said, "Young man, would you come down here?" And my brother's all dressed up in his suit and tie and vest and everything. Yep. And my brother was very involved in the occult at the time. Not in, he didn't never sacrifice animals or people or anything like that. Nothing like that, but he was involved in it. And Ed Warren was amazed that he actually did ritualize. And Ed Warren said, "Ladies and gentlemen, he is not a plant in the audience. This is, this was totally unplanned." So he's very excited. And meanwhile, the young lady who I was briefly dating at the time was huffing and puffing because she was into white witchcraft and she didn't agree with what my brother was into. So he said, "You stay here, young man, but is anyone else in the audience involved in anything like this?" And she raised her hand, and there I'm, oh my goodness. And she gets up, he calls her on stage, and I'm like, kind of sinking into the seat there. But they started debating. Ed Warren's putting the microphone back and forth to them, and finally interrupts them and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, these 2 lost lambs are dealing with forces beyond their control. They have no idea what they're doing with this." It was thinking back, and I was embarrassing at the time, but thinking back, it was hilarious. It was totally funny and very, very entertaining. And afterwards, my brother and I spoke with Ed and Lorraine Warren, became very, very good friends with them, lifelong friends, actually, and stayed in touch with them, obviously. Also, it was after that lecture that the person who had hired them was Donna Eisenstadt, and she ran a group called Parapsychological Investigation and Research Organization there on campus. And she asked if we'd mind speaking to their group. So we did speak to them a couple of times about our personal experience. Then we were asked to join, and that was the first official paranormal group that we belonged to, Pyro for short. And that, of course, is how we became involved with the Conjuring case, as it's known today, in Harrisville, Rhode Island.
Exactly, and that's another question. Obviously, seen The Conjuring. I don't really know, but if you watch The Conjuring, you can actually see. I mean, it must have been like the fourth or maybe fifth time I've watched it that I actually noticed this. But when you're watching it, at one of the lectures, you see the camera go around to the crowd, and you can actually see the real Lorraine Warren sitting in the crowd. And I didn't notice that the first few times I watched it. So obviously, I've seen the film like so many times.
Oh,
but
yes.
I actually noticed that Lorraine.
Yes, yeah, I'm glad you recognize her. Yes, because it does go by briefly, but you can actually see the real Lorraine Warren making a cameo in the movie as one of the people sitting in the lecture studio.
I didn't even see that first. Obviously, like I said, this must have been like maybe the fourth or fifth time that I seen it. But I saw it and I thought, oh my, that is actually Lorraine Warren. I had to pause it. I thought, how did I not notice that before? Like it goes by so fast, you can hardly notice it. And when you do, you're just shocked, because I actually had to research it, and I was actually pretty shocked. And it was cool because like it's cool that the real Lorraine was actually in the movie as well. And it was just a good way of doing it, and I really enjoyed it.
So you recognized her. You recognized her without being told that she was in it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I recognized her in the end. It was really cool. Because obviously, I've seen the movie so many times. I've seen The Conjuring 3, which recently came out this year. I've seen that twice already as well. I'm just a really huge fan. And I think their work is like, it's unbelievable, and it's good because they got the old museum as well, the occult museum, and I just think it's just awesome what they've done, and obviously what they achieved. Obviously, they're really popular at what they've done as well. So it's just really, really cool. And knowing you met them as well is also really, really cool.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, mate.
Do you do any investigations of your own then? Like, do you do paranormal investigations here and there, or?
Yes, we do. Mostly what we do at this point, my wife Sandra and I, although she's stepped back from it quite a bit, and with my team, which is near New England Anomalies Research, we go on some historic investigations, mostly for the history, similar to what you do sometimes, and we mostly do interventions when somebody calls us in for a house cleansing, or they're being very, very troubled by spirits that are not nice spirits, sometimes are inhuman spirits. We go through the house and we do a cleansing, which is basically not really so much an exorcism. It's just saying prayers, trying to bring in positive energy, dispel the negative energy and bring positive energy. And we read scripture and say prayers, and just the fact that we're doing that usually is very heartening to families, bringing some pleasantness in, and so that's mostly what we do these days. And of course, every time we do that, it really is an investigation, because we are in the house or in the residence, a building, whatever, and we're going through, and we do bring recording equipment with us, and we do capture quite a bit of EVP while we're doing this. Not even asking questions, just if you're pronouncing, it's reading scripture, pronouncing an expulsion, you sometimes will get a response, obviously.
It's quite interesting because how I got involved in this was about, I don't know, it was about, I gotta think now, I can't remember myself. I think it was August 2020, I think. I started doing ghost hunting. I started off, like obviously, I didn't have any subscribers at the time. I think I had like 400 subscribers on my channel, and I thought, well, I started off, I just went somewhere general, I just did a little ghost hunt, and people really liked it, and I then kept up with it, and I actually, I've been many places since, and I've even broken a few records here and there. There's a pub over here, it's called the Skirid Inn, and in Wales is actually the country's most haunted pub, and we actually went there, and at the time I was 16, so I was the youngest ever person to visit there on my own at night. Obviously I went with my friend, but we were the youngest to go. So we actually broke a record there. It was quite interesting. So I want to ask the question, like, Have you heard of the UK? Have you heard like any locations over here that you'd like to visit in the UK?
Oh,
Like,
oh yes, yeah. There are many I'd love to. I'd love to visit many of the castles in Ireland and England, and of course, where the Tudors reigned. I would love to go to the Tower and things like that. I'd love to be able to go through there and see what is picked up on recordings and things. Not necessarily asking questions, but just because it's when you're with a tour, it's hard to ask questions anyway. But just
yeah,
to see what is picked up, and you have such a rich history. I mean, we do too as well
yeah,
here, and especially in New England because we're with the oldest settlements here, and we have an amazing history going back as far as you. But unfortunately, most of it is not recorded because it was the indigenous people,
yeah.
and they usually recorded it through wampum belts, which most of them are missing now. Of course, history, and but as far as being the United States of America, we're only a little over a couple of 100 years old, and
Yeah.
you are like thousands. You go back millennia and everything like that. So that's I would love to visit even some of your cottages there and
They're
the
very good as
castle
well.
we went through. Yeah, I know. I remember the castle. And obviously, you didn't have access in it, but it was in the middle of the daytime. So I was really impressed that you were able to do that in the daytime with traffic going by and having to cut out the music here and there, and
I
still
know that.
make a good show of it. Very good. I
That's the
really
hard part. I've been many places. Obviously, I know I've been doing it a year. I usually have a hobby. I release one video a week, and
Mhm.
I gotta admit, sometimes it does get really hard because obviously I got a job and all as well, and sometimes recording it
Yeah,
does
you
get
have a
really
day
hard.
job, so yeah.
Um, Obviously, to understand that, it is really hard sometimes, and
Mhm.
sometimes some people are like, "Why don't you record?" And what I started doing then, like earlier this year, I actually made my videos so much that
Mhm.
now I've got like 12 videos on my YouTube channel. So like, if I'm ever working one week and I feel like I can't record, I still got loads of videos ready to come out because I recorded so many in advance. I now
Oh, really?
record
Well,
them.
that's good.
It's really good, and
Yeah.
I just think it's easier because if I record them more now, it gives me
Mhm.
time off in the future. Like in December, I'm taking a whole month off. So like this
Okay.
whole month that I take a break, I have all the videos already ready for December. So
Oh,
it's like
excellent.
it's really good, and it really gave me time to prepare.
Now you don't do a lot of editing, correct?
That's correct. I don't do editing. I know how to edit, and I have edited here and there. Obviously, I know how to remove music. I just don't do a lot of editing because I struggle with it.
Mhm.
Like I don't struggle because I find it hard. I struggle because I have to go to work, and I just don't have time to do it. Because when
Right.
I
It
am,
is very time consuming. Yes.
it is because like when I'm home, I get really tired, and I mean really tired. I mean because I work a lot of nights. Like I work from like 5 o'clock to like 12 o'clock. I then have to walk home, and when I get home, I just want to sleep. So like I find it
Oh,
really
cool.
hard to edit. Um,
Wow.
but
Yeah.
I mean it hasn't really affected me. People don't mind, to be honest. So
Mhm.
I don't get too upset. Oh, my team member's actually commenting right now. Let me get you. He
Mhm.
said, "How are you both?" I'm good. How about you, Keith? How are you feeling today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm sure I'll crash later because I still have a lecture to do at 5 p.m. and over here this time I have an hour almost an hour lecture to do and plus greeting people and selling things here and there. Although I've sold out of my books so far. So, but
So what's the time now over there? What's the time now? Because
time is 2:14.
2:14. Oh wow, that's quite
We're
interesting.
we're 5 hours behind you.
5 hours. I got you.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
find it hard to remember because some people were 6 hours behind me, some people were
yeah,
8, some people were 7, and then I got some people were 9 from California. I find it so hard to remember where they are and what time it is.
yeah. You've got to have a
Right.
list right in front of you. Yes,
I
but
gotta have a list. I was actually on about that. There are some other people here as well. Let's just go back in the comments. Yeah,
yeah.
thank you, Demon Detective. Hi, hello, Wayne. How you doing?
Hi,
Uh,
Wayne.
Good evening to you both. Hello, the Silent Hunter. He met the Warrens. He did meet the Warrens. That's right.
Oh yes, yes. I met the Warrens. I have worked with the Warrens. Knew them quite well for a number of years until actually their passing. Of course, Ed
Yeah,
passed away in 2006, and Lorraine in 2018. And of course, Lorraine lived to be in her 90s. But yeah, I did meet the Warrens, and I did work with them as well. And also on what has become known as the Conjuring case, we worked together on that.
It's just really interesting because obviously how many years am I? It's just really interesting because obviously that I said I've seen The Conjuring so many times, and like if I really sat here and told you how many times I've watched it, I can't even give a number because I've seen it that many times.
Well, you
It's
have
just
it memorized, right? You have it memorized by now,
I
right?
have it memorized. No, there's just certain things I'm into. Like I've also seen that Amityville Horror. You know that film, the Amityville Horror?
Oh yes, yes, and
Really
Lorraine worked
popular.
on, yeah, and
They
Lorraine worked
did.
on
They
that
did.
case too.
I did hear about that. It was mad. I think they did try and show that at the beginning, number two. I think that's what they're referring to. But I've seen it so many times, and it's just
Hmm.
it, they're just great movies. And I mean, the director, the producer of The Conjuring, James Wan, he's just really good.
Yes,
And
he is.
I think the way he builds the tension in the movies, so that, like you get those little jump scares here and there. They're just really good.
Yes,
I
but did
mean,
you know, Jared, James Wan would not step anywhere near when he was in Rhode Island. He would not go near the real Conjuring house, the Harrisville farmhouse. He would not go near the real farmhouse, and he was just too terrified. He said, "Oh, I
yeah,
do movies, but I'm not. This is the real thing. I'm not going to get that close to it." He just would not go near the house itself.
that is
Don't
crazy
blame
to be
him.
honest. That is
Yeah,
crazy. I mean, I got scared here and there. I mean, like when I went to the Skirting, like I talked about earlier, it's the
yeah.
most haunted pub in Wales. And next year, I'm planning to go to visit the most haunted pub in the whole of the UK. It's called the Ancient Ramen. I don't know if you heard of it, but it's supposed to be very popular. So I want to go there next year. It's just going to cost me a lot of money to go. A
Oh,
lot.
well, I hope you have a very successful trip and investigation. Is that going to be part of your show? I assume.
Yes, it is. I will be recording that.
Oh, good, good. I look forward to that. I wish I could join you on that. I just love to get just into castles, of course, but the pubs, the residences. I would just love to get into them. And you have like I said, you have so many centuries of
Yeah,
history there, and
you
there
do.
has to be something left behind there.
I mean, I'm lucky enough to have a great team. I mean, I have a great team. Obviously, Thomas is in the comments. I will get to your new comment in a minute. I mean, I'm lucky to have a team. I mean, when I first started this, I was like, I don't know if I can do it. But then, because I started this with one person, then he
Uh-huh.
left, and I had to one, two. I mean, I have to count. I had another person after that. He left as well due to a disagreement. So then I fast forward to now. I've got one, two, three, four, five. I got six people on my channel now, including myself.
Okay.
So I went from one to six. It was really interesting.
Well, good for you, and I'm glad you started out so young, so very
Yeah.
young, and
Well,
of course
I
there
thought
are some.
myself,
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I thought myself, it would be best to start young because if I start young, I have more years to work on it,
oh
which
yeah,
means by the time I'm like in my 30s or my 40s, it could be a better experience and I know more by then. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
right now, I'm not going to say I know much. I've only been doing it a year. I'm only 17. I don't know as much as you guys, of course. Which is why when
Mhm.
I invite you guests onto the show, I find it interesting to find out what you know as well, because it's just, obviously you had more experience than me. So it's just more interesting to know.
Well, it's always good to network and learn things from people. It's always good,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you could teach me things from the technical aspect.
Yeah.
Because you're up on the latest recording equipment and such like that, and all about editing, which I struggle with. I struggle
Yeah.
with things like that.
But it's like I said, I know about editing. I just don't have the time to do it.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
I can
right.
edit a video right now. I mean, I have edited videos sometimes. It just depends. I just find it too hard to find the time to do it. I mean, with work, I mean, it's just difficult to do.
Yeah. Do your team members help you with the editing and putting the show together?
No, they've offered, but I've often declined. I thought, well, because then they'd have to edit it and send it to me, and I'd have to get it off my phone and put it up. It's just hard work, and I mean, nobody like complained yet. When people start complaining, then I'll start editing, but nobody's complaining. They actually don't care. I mean, all they want is the footage, and I put the footage up. That's what they enjoy. That's
Yeah.
what they get. So I
Well,
mean,
from,
it's not
from your
that nobody
show,
complains.
from what I've watched, you don't really need to really do that much editing.
Hmm.
They come out fine like they are. It's just being honest, going to these locations and
Yeah,
speaking speaking to your audience, including them in
Yeah.
the action, so to speak, and they're part of the show too. You're talking to your audience and investigating, so it's like being right with you, and you can actually feel the cold and the dampness there when you're at these locations when you're
It
doing
is.
that.
I mean, I've had a few issues here and there. I mean, sometimes, like, a few things that happen, and I feel like sometimes I overreact to something. Like, sometimes I get annoyed, I overreact to it, and there could always be an explanation for it. Like, I mean, I've had people in my videos before. I mean, some people who I've had to get off the team, and sometimes a few of my team members, they might chuck a rock behind my back. I don't see them do it. But then my camera hears it, and I know somebody's done it because there's no way a ghost would just be chucking a rock in every location. So I feel like
Right.
sometimes I'm overreacting because it could be somebody that
But that's a natural reaction, though. It's
Yeah, it is.
I like to see the natural reactions and everything like that.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, I went somewhere back in March, and this thing when chucking at the tree, and I actually had a lot of praise for this because I heard something bang against the tree. I thought, hold on, there's no way that's the spirit. There is no way because there was nothing on my spirit box. There was nothing telling me that it was a spirit there. And I hear something go against the tree. I'm like, come on, somebody's got to throw that at the tree.
Right.
So instead of reacting to it, I actually didn't react. I thought I'm not going to react to that because I know it's just one of my mates who are here with me. And
Right.
And I thought I'm not going to react to it. I'm not going to react.
Oh,
so I didn't react to that. But I felt like after that, I've been reacting to it because like the other night I heard a rock go against a tree and I started talking about it. I was like, yeah, I've heard a rock and I've had to even delete a few videos that I feel like I've been overreacting too much because I don't want to turn into like CJ Facian because he might be famous, but I feel like he overreacts too much.
Oh yeah. You're gonna find that excuse the term, happy medium between you don't want to overreact, but you don't want to underreact too. See, I tend to underreact. Because if something goes bang or something because often I'm with clients, and if something goes bang very loud, they're all scared, and I have to be the calming influence. So I don't usually react that much, and I try to investigate it. But but a natural reaction that's wonderful to see that when you see it actually as it's happening during a often it is like a live investigation. So you're showing what happens there, and the beautiful cemeteries, historic cemeteries you go in. Some of those are very, very lovely, and I always wish I could be there and to join you there because that what is the you go into these cemeteries. What is the oldest burials usually? I mean, on average.
I mean, I saw some burials dating back. I mean, around my area, I'd say the oldest, like maybe the 1800s.
Yeah.
Or maybe the 1700s. But again, it's too hard to tell because I mean, I go past some graves and you can't even see the date because it's been scratched off or vandalized. Which is also
that's true.
I'm really against that because I go to these places, I'm like, what on earth? Why are people scratching graves? I mean, if somebody was scratching my grave, I'd want to get out of my grave and choke them because, to be honest, these people have lived their lives. They got their name on a grave and it's been scratched off. I feel like those people are being disrespected. I mean, they've passed away. They leave them in peace. Don't be scratching their graves. You know what I mean? It's just I sometimes look at it and I think, who'd want to do that? I went to a graveyard last year and it was actually quite popular. It reached 600 views, and I've noticed that there was all tissue wrapped around the grave. And I thought, why would somebody want to go to a graveyard and just vandalize a grave like that? It's just putting tissue around their grave. It's disrespectful,
Yeah, that is very disrespectful to do something like that. And then my wife Sandra and I and my brother Carl, we've seen that so many times where somebody disrespects and vandalizes, and it's like, what is the mentality of these people? Why do they do this? Tip over gravestones, scratch on them. Well, I don't know what the thrill is of it, except for the fact that they think they're getting away with something. But that's why, of course, you're so familiar with The Conjuring, and you're very familiar with the name Bathsheba and everything.
Yeah,
and,
I know that name. Yes, from number one, she was the spirit who was haunting the land. I know it. Yeah, I know it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was a real person. She and her husband owned a farm right near. She didn't live in that house, but she owned a farm near the area, her and her husband, and Judson Sherman, and
Yeah.
her gravestone has been vandalized. So even before, years before The Conjuring came out, it has been broken in half, knocked down so many times that the town eventually had to remove it. So I guess it's probably in the basement of the town hall or wherever they keep things. They had to remove it because people just wouldn't leave it alone.
Exactly. It's just mental. And I was watching a video the other week, well, the other month, sorry, not the other week, and I can't remember his name. But if I try and find it, I might try and show his name. I don't know if you heard of him, but I think it could have been Josh or the Viking Josh. I had to look. But there was this guy, and he actually went to the Conjuring house, and he made a video there. I think it was Exploring. No, it wasn't Exploring with Josh. That's a different YouTuber. I can't think of his name, but he actually went to the Conjuring house, and he made a video there. And you can actually see him there, and you can actually see him exploring it, and he actually had some activity. But I don't know, because so many people visit that house. It's like the thing. Have you heard of the Lizzie Borden house?
Oh yes.
Yes, it's like sometimes a lot of people go there, and half these people, like, you don't know. I mean, like, oh my gosh, for example, he went to the Lizzie Borden house. I suppose you heard of him, yes?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, he went there, and I don't know. Some people, like, oh my gosh was the reason I got into ghost hunting, to be honest, in the start. And I just think oh my gosh was amazing to start off with. But then I started noticing when I started doing my own investigations, I don't get as much activity as what he gets. So I started thinking his videos were over exaggerated a bit. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. I know what you mean. Sure.
Because like in his videos, he always gets a chair flying, or he always gets, I don't know, a door slamming. And
well, you have to be kind of wary of that if somebody gets activity every single time.
Yeah, and that's what I started thinking. And I haven't actually watched Oh My Gosh in ages. I mean, I used to be a huge fan of his. Like I said, he was the reason I got into all of this. I started thinking, well, I don't know. I can't watch somebody if they're going to fake it. That was my opinion. I mean,
I hope you don't get too many negative reactions in the comments there, like happening.
Oh no, I mean, most of my fans, they kind of, I haven't even been looking at my comments. I'm sorry to say, I haven't even been looking at them. Forgot. Wayne Evans said, interesting. Thank you, Wayne. I love you, bro. Don't worry about it. Thank you, Wayne. Appreciate that. You guys are truly an inspiration. Thank you, Thomas. That's my team member, by the way.
Oh, great.
Which graveyard was it, bro? Terrific. And I see people online posting it. So that is disgusting.
Yeah, it is. That is disgusting and horrible. And I don't know what propels people to do that, because is it simply because they're deceased, they're defenseless? Is that their motivation for doing it, because they can? That really is.
I mean, it's like I said earlier with this issue, I thought, well, it's just wrong. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I actually want to be cremated, because I mean, if I had a gravestone and somebody done that to my gravestone, I feel quite upset. I mean, you don't want to live life just to have your grave vandalized. I mean, you might like I'm over exaggerating, but I mean, a gravestone is the last bit that you've got of yourself. You don't want that to be you.
Right. Exactly. And it is terrible that goes on, especially if somebody has a reputation or a graveyard has a reputation for being haunted. That'll attract more people, and unfortunately more and more vandalism too. You find that where you are too, right?
I always see vandalism. I actually went to an abandoned factory, and this factory was from the 1800s. I didn't make this a ghost hunt though, and I'll tell you why in just a bit. I'll get back to that. There's actually something for you viewers to find out too. I'll just tell you now. Actually, I notice a lot of people go to abandoned places and they record a ghost hunt there, right? You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. Because it's abandoned.
And I think to myself, well, just because it's abandoned doesn't mean it's haunted. So until I know, obviously it can be many places that be haunted, but people go to abandoned places because they're the most popular. And they think because it's abandoned, it can be haunted. Or I actually changed that around. I thought if I go to an abandoned place, I would turn it into an explore, not a ghost hunt, because just because it's like an abandoned factory, it's less likely to be haunted. I mean, what's
Mhm.
the chances of a steel factory being haunted? Who really going to die at a steel factory? So I
Yeah.
thought, well, I'm going to turn it into an explore, not a ghost hunt,
Well,
because I
I
think,
like exploration. I like shows on exploration. You know, an abandoned building. I have a friend, a good mate of mine, David Manch, who's been on camera with me,
yeah,
and he does. That's what he does. He does exploration videos and photos and everything. These old places, and they're
yeah,
beautiful. And the photos he takes, and he preserves them before the places are dilapidated or torn down. He takes as many photos and as much video as possible. And I think his photos and his camera work should be award winning for what he
yeah,
does in preservation, you know, and showing the beauty of these old historic places, even if they're not haunted, like you said.
yeah. But like I said, exploring them is fine. But when people go to like abandoned places, they just start doing a ghost hunt. I'm like, if I went to an abandoned factory that I was just telling you about, if I started recording a ghost hunt there, yes, it might be an interesting video to some people, but some people are going to be like, well, what are the history there? You're just there doing a ghost hunt for no reason, because it's an abandoned building doesn't mean somebody died. Only do a
Mhm.
ghost hunt if you got history. That's what I say. Like I try my best to go to places that actually have history or what could have actually be like a graveyard, for example. I'm not going to
Right.
go to an abandoned place and just make a ghost hunt because it's abandoned.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's a difference. You know what I mean? Urban
Mhm.
exploration is different to ghost hunting. Like that's what I
Right.
mean. I mean, because some people they think urban exploring is the same as ghost hunting, but
Yes.
it's not.
No,
It's
no,
not
it's
the
not.
same. I mean, have you ever been to any abandoned buildings?
I do. I do. Well, when I was your age, I did all the time. You know, we used to go into abandoned buildings. Uh, not, I didn't always do it with permission, but you see an abandoned house, you go in, and actually, that's how I had one of my first. I guess you could say this was my first ghost hunt or paranormal
Yeah,
investigation when I was 10 years old. We went into an abandoned mansion, kind of a very big estate house, and in in Rhode Island, near the beach area. And we walked through it, and my family would just stop by, and there was no trespassing signs, no locked doors, nobody lived there. So, and it was a beautiful house, dusty and
yeah,
somewhat decrepit, but we went through it, and we always call it the haunted house because it looked like that. We didn't,
yeah.
but we weren't calling for spirits or anything. We just go through it, and I was the last time we went there. I was 10 years old, and I was the last one out. We'd just come back from the beach, and my mom's in the car beeping the horn, calling for me, and said, I'm going to take one last walk through, and I did. I went down the hallway at the second floor. I had a feeling I should look into a certain room at the end of the hallway,
Yeah,
and I look in, and there's this rocking chair just going back and forth by itself, and nobody's in there, of course.
yeah,
And so I looked for a second. I turned and I ran down the stairs as fast as I could, and I'm hyperventilating. My mom's mad at me because I didn't come out right away. But I said, "You don't understand. I saw something. I saw a rocket." Yeah, yeah. She didn't
I
believe me,
understand.
you know. I swear I saw it. Well, you better not swear. So, but yeah, yeah, that was very interesting. And it wasn't that dangerous, but a lot of times, of course, abandoned buildings can be
Yeah,
dangerous. And like the Ladd Center we had in Exeter, Rhode Island, it was an institution and a learning school for disabled people, and top notch, top of the state when it first opened up in the
yeah,
early 1900s. But as time went on, of course, there was overcrowding, lack of staffing. Patients were abused, used experimentally. So once it was cleared out of people, and yet they left the documents, the medical records right
yeah,
there, letters that were never sent to families. So it was known for its paranormal activity too. However, it was a very dangerous place to go in, very dark. The floor was unsafe, but a lot of people did go into it and had
yeah,
actual experiences. But that's all those buildings are gone now. So I don't know if the land still holds anything, but in Exeter, Rhode Island, but certainly, that was an interesting abandoned place, but dangerous.
yeah. I mean, let me show you my place I actually went to because
Yeah, I'd
well,
like to see.
I want to show you. I can't show you the video because that's on my account, and my account isn't like it's on this phone,
Mhm.
but if I show you, it's going to show all my other videos too, and it'll be spoiling it for the fans. I'm going to have to search up Abandoned Factory. Abyssinian, I think. I think it's Abyssinian or it's Halloween. Let me have a little look. Oh, that's not it. That's not it. That's it. I got it. Let me get a better photo of it. That's it there. I don't know if you can see it really good, or can you see it at all?
Oh yeah, I can see it now. Yes, I can. Yeah.
Yes. But I went there and we went through the gates and we actually got into the building. It was really interesting. There was like 5 buildings there, but one was like where the old like offices and toilets used to be. One was where like the actual steel factory used to be, and it was just really, really good. And I can't wait to upload it. I want to upload it at the right time because I mean, when it comes to uploading, there's always the right time to do it. You can upload it any time, of course, but there's a good time to do it. Like when are most people going to see it? I'm thinking around Christmas time because most people are off work. I'm thinking that could be a good time to upload it. Maybe the views might go higher. So I'm thinking maybe Christmas time.
Yeah. I certainly watch all your videos.
Yeah, thank you.
Enjoy them. I've got some footage here, and I don't know how it's going to show on the screen. I don't really know if it's going to show on the screen or what, but
how long is it? If it's long enough, you can send it to me, and I can probably get it up onto the screen.
Okay, yeah. I'll just show. I know it's kind of dark, but it might come in, it might not. This is going through the convention. The exhibits.
More, I can see it. Yeah, the Parades of Death. Yeah.
Yeah, Pearls of Death, and that's from the Warrens Museum. That just looks spooky. It was never. I don't think it has any attachments or anything, but all of these things are blessed. They're blessed. The exhibits are blessed every single morning before they show them.
I thought they only blessed them once a week, though. I thought it was once a week. I thought it was once every 2 weeks. Then it was once a week.
Well, when they're showing it like a convention, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, and this is a satanic idol here.
Oh wow.
And this was actually a little dark, but this was found in the woods, and it eventually became part of. This was actually used in satanic ceremonies. And it was in the Warrens Museum. It still is. And Lorraine, this mysterious illness. Oh,
that's quite interesting. Yeah, that's quite interesting. Go be further. I mean, when it comes to that myself, I think. I watched a video with this. I think Lorraine was in it. I'm not too sure. It's been about 2 or 3 years since I watched it, but I watched a video on YouTube. You can actually see this guy visiting the occult museum.
Oh, really? Yeah. These are some of the actual objects. Yeah. This is the movie Annabelle. Annabelle Comes Home. This is the actual doll. It's not the original Annabelle. This is the doll that was used in the movie prop, but it's the actual one that was in. It's the movie Annabelle from Annabelle Comes Home.
Oh,
see, she's in a glass case there. You can see her eyes there. Yeah.
That's quite awesome.
She looks kind of gruesome there. They're supposed to, but they also
I've seen Annabelle so many times.
Have you? Yeah.
So many times. I'll show you now. If you just wait here, I'll be right back. Keep showing the video. Be back in like 2 seconds. It's just over here.
Conjuring mirror was actually used to conjure by a gentleman. He didn't make out too well because of that. But,
let me show you. I got them all right here, as you can see. I got all the movies. You see, I got the Curse of La Llorona. I got that one. The Curse that was also made as well. I've got Annabelle Comes Home.
Oh, good. That's the doll. Yes, there we go.
Yep. I've got Annabelle Creation.
Oh wow.
I've got the original Annabelle movie.
I've
got The Conjuring 2 there as well.
Oh yes, yeah. Conjuring 2.
The Conjuring, I think the other.
Oh yeah. Very good.
I also got. I've also got The Conjuring 3 as well.
Oh, good for you. Wow.
Yeah, so I've got them all here. So as you can see, I'm a really big fan. I haven't got The Nun because I've seen The Nun on like Sky and Netflix and all.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
Obviously, as you see, I'm a really huge fan of the movies.
Yes, you are. And this is coming up. This is the real Annabelle doll, the actual one, which was a Raggedy Ann doll, of course, is a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah.
And so that's this is the real Annabelle doll.
Oh, I've seen pictures of that. Oh my,
Yeah,
that's
that
awesome.
is the real Annabelle doll. Kind of spooky
I've seen
because she's
loads.
so big. Yeah,
It is. I've
that
seen
is
loads of pictures of that. I used
Yeah.
to search it up. It's like obviously, but in the movie, like they made the doll look a lot different. Like,
They
couldn't
did.
borrow? I
They
mean,
made it
I
look
think.
Yeah, it looked like Bride of Chucky. So, yeah, they did make the
So,
doll look considerably different in the movies.
because
They wanted to make
I
it
was
look more
thinking to
spooky.
myself, why didn't they borrow the real doll? Could they borrow it? Could they like pay to borrow it or whatever?
I'm sure they could have. They probably could have, but it would have been under controlled circumstances and everything. And
I see what you mean. Like
yeah,
make sure it wasn't like gonna like try anything. Because obviously, it's still
right,
got to be blessed, isn't it?
right. Because people have abused it. They have really abused it too.
Yeah.
And they've met with tragic accidents too sometimes when they. That's why she's in a glass case. See, so that's a shadow doll that was used to place curses on people, and it's got a real human tooth in it, so it's pretty grisly. But and that's a scary witch that is in the museum, and
Exactly.
yeah, so that's the tour there that they did, and they've got the whole exhibit set up there.
I just obviously thought it'd be really cool to show you. They've got all the movies that I've been watching them ages. I mean, when The Conjuring first came out, I remember watching it, and I got like it's been the second time I watched it, and I was thinking about like the nun and all that. The story with the nun is just like amazing how they actually thought of like bringing that into the movie and making it.
Oh yes.
I didn't say anything about it. Like the story behind it is just really good. How you see Lorraine seeing the dreams of the nun, and then the nun is actually there trying to kill Ed Warren. It's just the story behind it is good, and like the directors behind it really think really good before they make these movies.
Oh yes, yeah, they are well done, and of course James Wan, he's the master of that, of the scare tactics and everything like that. He's very, very well done as cinematography and everything. And he would never go in the Conjuring house, and he didn't really see pictures of the inside of it. Somehow there's a scene in that, the bedroom scene and everything. There's a scene where the wallpaper matches exactly in the real house.
Yeah,
but we don't know how that happened because he wasn't exposed to that. He didn't know what it looked like. Just coincidentally, he's got the same wallpaper there. Now, how does that happen?
I think maybe somebody could have told him or something. Maybe that happened, or
well, he says he didn't study any pictures of it. It just happened. He just happened the same wallpaper. And you look in the actual house, it's kind of the same setting, not the exterior. The exterior in the movie that was based on the Warrens' house. That was modeled after Ed and Lorraine's house, but the interior, he had that down pretty good. And the Perron family doesn't know how he did it because he didn't study, he didn't see the pictures. They don't know how he did it. It just
I actually watched a documentary, and I actually saw I can't name them. One of the daughters, I'm not sure which daughter it was, but it wasn't Cindy, I don't think, but
probably Andrea.
I don't know. It definitely wasn't Cindy, I don't think, but she was on the show, and you could actually see her talking about it, and it could have been her. I can't double check. I can't search up a picture of what she looks like. But it was ages ago I watched it, and you can see her explaining everything on the show, and she was saying how scared she was when it was happening, and I mean to go through that, I mean it's just unbelievable. I mean, obviously they make the movies like a bit better by exaggerating some things. Obviously, they got to it's a movie, but like you think about it, that still actually happened at the end of the day. Like, imagine a family going through that. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's just the trauma it would cause to their mental health. It's just unbelievable.
I think the mother, Carolyn, she was the most affected. She was the most affected by it, and she was targeted. she was actually targeted. So she actually went through the worst of it. But I mean, when you see your mom going through that, obviously the whole family's affected. And
Well, I mean, I got to agree with you, but I mean, number two then, with the Enfield House and all, the Enfield House, right?
yes,
From
the
number
Enfield
two.
house, yes.
Well, that's in England. That's just really next door to me. I can probably visit there tomorrow if I book the taxi.
Oh,
But I
really?
mean, people keep asking me to go there, and I'm like, well, I can't go there because somebody lives there. I don't want to travel
It's not an
all the way.
exhibit. Yes.
Yeah, like I just don't want to travel all the way to England to record at somebody's house because I feel bad for that. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
of
want to
course.
go outside somebody's house, point a camera there, and be like, yeah, this house was haunted years ago. I mean, I feel bad
People
because
do
it's
that
those
though.
people. Yeah,
Some people have a lot of nerve. They do that. They'll go to a private home. They'll knock. They got the camera already going. They say, "We heard your house is haunted. We saw it on the news. We saw it in the movie. Can we
yeah,
come in and investigate?" Like some people
yeah.
have the nerve to do that.
But I feel quite bad for that because I mean, the people who live there, I'm not even sure they know it was in a movie because I watched a video about maybe a year or two ago, and you can see this guy. He's standing outside, and you can see people walking past. I'm not sure they're the owners. I think they were like different people on the street. You can see him walking past, thinking, "Why on earth is this guy recording on the street?" And I mean, I don't want to travel all the way to England just to stand outside a house. I mean, if they
Yeah.
said to me, "You can go inside," it'd be different. But
Mhm.
like standing outside a house, it isn't a good feeling because it's somebody's house, somebody's living there. I
Yeah.
don't want to like to put their house on camera. It seems wrong.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And the
Yeah.
people, I didn't realize you were that close to the Enfield house itself.
Oh, I'm pretty close. So, I mean, I'm not like close if I can get there in an hour or so. I mean,
Yeah.
but like if I book the taxi tonight, I can be there. I don't know within like the next 5 hours if I really wanted to. But like I wouldn't want to do that because it's just the person like living there now. It's
Yeah.
wrong to go outside somebody's house and
Private
record.
home.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if the house was abandoned, I'd definitely go. But I mean, if somebody's living there, they don't want people making videos out there. I'm pretty sure.
Hmm. Right, exactly, and that's a good point. That's what the owners of the Conjuring House go through now.
Yeah,
And now the owner before then, she wanted nothing to do with people coming onto the property, and
yeah,
she just wanted privacy. She had a
that was it.
terrible time when the movie came out, and eventually, of course, she after her husband passed, her mate passed, she had to sell the house and everything. But the people that are in there now, they have a strong background in paranormal investigation, so they're
Yeah,
not new to this. And yet, the flood of, especially around Halloween this time of year, the flood of people that just and they they do have for a price you can
yeah,
go in, and although it's booked up for the next couple of years, you can go in and take a tour there and investigate. But they're very, very reasonable people. Corey and
yeah,
Jennifer Heinzen, they're here today at the convention, and good friends of mine. And they're genuine people. They're very generous. They're oh, come on in, say hello. They're that type of people. And yet they have video surveillance all over the place. Now they've had to put like no trespassing, fences, and everything like that. You see
yeah,
people straddling the fences, jumping in their yard, just walking through because to them this is a public exhibit. It's a public exhibit that they figure
yeah,
the public has a right to. We saw the movie, so we have a right to be here. And I mean, they've got dogs. They've got some German shepherds, and what are they supposed to do? Keep the dogs in 24/7?
yeah,
All around the clock. These dogs have a nice yard. They love to play in and run in. And yet the dogs get upset when they see strangers, obviously going into
yeah,
the yard and everything like that. And the owner has to come out and intervene and things like that, make sure everybody's safe. And I mean, it's really, and these are reasonable people. These
yeah,
aren't people that immediately put up no trespassing signs and things like that. These are reasonable, very friendly people, and yet their lives are not the same, to say the least. They don't have a moment's peace because people think they're going to run over and they're going to see The Conjuring being acted out in live action. So,
yeah,
it's like unfortunate. And they themselves cannot refer to it as the Conjuring House because that's copyrighted. They refer to it as the House on Round Top Road.
yeah.
And that's their website and their Facebook page, the House on Round Top Road. So
I mean, I've got to be like quite thin with you. I mean, obviously earlier I was just speaking about the Enfield house and how I can't go there because people live in there. I mean,
Yes,
but I've seen, like, obviously, like I said, a few videos of people just standing outside, and
yes,
like I said, that in a way is just the most disrespectful. I mean, for like somebody to go to somebody's house to record, I get it. If you get permission, go there. But I mean, I know it's not illegal what they're doing because as long as you're in public, you can record anything. But I
right.
mean, it's just wrong what they're doing. I mean, this person living there, unless they say to people, you can come in. I mean, it's just sort of wrong to just go and record
Right.
it. And I mean, it's just I
And
feel
that
really
that is certainly, that's not the original family, right? That was portrayed in the movie. Certainly that probably long gone. That's not the
Oh no,
original
no, no!
family.
They're long gone, and this is a
Yeah.
different family. I'm not even sure if they're even aware of the movie. They probably are, of course, because obviously people can tell them. But I'm not sure if they're like, saying to people, "Come on in, we're wanting to record you." I think the people living there at the moment just don't want anything to do with people recording it.
Yeah, right. Well, of course, that's their privacy. That's their
Yeah,
private home, and it's the same thing with the Amityville Horror movie, that
yeah,
franchise, and there's people that live there, and they changed the windows. The windows look like eyes, of course, and so they changed the windows to regular square windows so they wouldn't
yeah.
associate it with the movie and such. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, you do have this happening, and
there's
I
something
feel
else
bad.
I feel bad as well about that. But there's something else I would also say is that when these houses, like, imagine now tomorrow, the Conjuring house went for sale. How many people do you think would want to buy that? I'd reckon people would be offering millions. Because
Oh,
you
yeah,
think
well,
about
yeah,
how
yeah. People are offering millions because they do have it for sale now. It is on the market.
well, it
You know,
is for
they
sale.
yeah, they've
Oh wow,
I think it's $2.1 million last I knew, I think, but
that is a lot of money. That is a
yeah,
lot.
yeah, and but these people that live there now, they're very generous and genuine people. They've had it a couple of years now, and they've had enough. It's just
Yeah,
too much. It's too much for the average person to
yeah.
uh, to have to deal with that and go through that because they're let so many people in the house and let people tour and there's been times where they haven't even charged. If you want to take pictures of the house, that's fine. But it's just that it's constant hopping the fence there at 2 in the morning, 1 or 2 in the morning. You have people looking in the windows. It's just,
Oh my,
and they have surveillance and everything. So,
yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
it literally, I mean, if you were here, say if you came to Warwick, Rhode Island, you came to Rhode Island and visited me next week. I
yeah,
I could stop by and say hi to them. And this is my mate Jared. He's from the UK, and they would come on in, have some coffee with us. Show you the
yeah,
house. They're that kind of people. But
yeah,
you've got these strangers just because I know them personally, but just hopping the fence and just it's I can't imagine living there myself.
yeah.
I wouldn't be able to handle it myself. So
I can see what you mean. I mean, if somebody was doing that to me, it'd drive me crazy. And you'd also be scared to go out because, like I
yeah,
said, they have you have surveillance. That's amazing. Surveillance. Cameras up,
mhm,
amazing. But you imagine you want to go shopping. Imagine the next person who bought this house was just one person. They live there alone.
right.
They go shopping. The threat that house could be under when they're away shopping is dangerous. Because the amount of people who want to go to this place is unbelievable. You imagine what they could do to the building if somebody goes away. And this is certainly a building we don't want to lose because it's a part of history. It's
Oh
part of a
yes.
movie that is amazing. So
Mhm.
if somebody buys this house, they got to be serious about it. They got to be serious. They got to go there. They're going to make sure it's top level security there because this is a house we just don't ever want to lose because it's just amazing, the history behind it, and it's a
Yes.
house. It just deserves great protection. So whoever buys this house needs to take it seriously.
Very seriously. They need to be prepared for what they're getting into, too. Totally
Yeah,
prepared. And this house, the house is older than our country. Obviously, I
yeah,
mean, we're 1776, and then the War of 1812. Of course, we're a very young nation compared to
yeah,
European nations, and the house has been there since 1736. It's
yeah,
been through just about all our governors, all of our presidents, of course, our Civil War, World War I, World War II. Many storms. Actually, the barn outdates the house itself. The barn was built by a shipbuilder, and so it's like lived like that. It can
we've
stand.
got a question for you.
It's withstood many hurricanes and storms, including the one we just had 2 days ago. But
we've got a question for you, though. We got a question for you. I suppose you would know this. I don't, because obviously I don't live over there. What's the address of the house?
1677 Round Top Road, Harrisville, Rhode Island. Yeah, 1677 Round Top Road in Harrisville, Rhode Island. That's the actual address of it.
Oh, we got another one here. We got loads actually. Hello, Darren. How you doing? We're having a great day, bro. Cheers. That's okay. I seen The Conjuring 2. I think the Bathsheba 2A.
Joe didn't know she was real. Oh yeah, she was a real historic character. She was a real person. Her and her husband Jared owned a farm, a very successful farm. They weren't really young. They weren't teenagers when they were married. So
her husband was called Jared as well.
Judson. I'm sorry.
Oh, right,
it's so similar that I say Jared. It's so similar. Yeah.
You said Jared, then I thought, what?
Well, that would be something, wouldn't it? Jared Sherman. She married Jared Sherman, and he was Judson, but it's similar to that. So sorry about that, but
that's okay.
Yeah. And she was a real person that lived in the community. Her reputation seems to be undeserved, because historical records don't show her sacrificing her children or being a satanic witch. She was actually given a Christian burial by a reverend from Providence, Rhode Island. And you don't, a satanic witch who knows, she's sacrificing children, don't usually give her a Christian burial,
I understand. I mean, it's like the same with like the Salem witch trials back in the day.
Yes, right.
If somebody thought you was a witch, that was the end of you. You were gone.
Yeah. If you had political connections or you were prominent, and that disturbance started in Salem, Mass, in the local parish ministers in his house, Reverend Samuel Paris. It started in his house, and his 9-year-old daughter and his 11-year-old niece began experiencing these hallucinations, if you want to call them that. They began passing out, doing dances, shrieking. They didn't like religious objects and everything. And of course, they had a servant. They had 2 servants in the house, John and Tituba Indian. And supposedly she was telling them about necromancy. Tituba was telling about necromancy. There's no real proof of that, but they figure that's how they got the idea. But anyway, they started going into becoming comatose, rigid, and then trying to get up the chimney, running up the chimney. And Tituba supposedly showed them how to do a witch cake, in which you use human urine, and make a cake out of it. And that's going to tell you who the witch was, whatever. And so many innocent people wound up being accused. Many innocent people. And it became so political. You didn't like your neighbor. Well, I saw him starting a fire in the middle of the night, and I think you should look into this. And they've got dolls. The children have dolls, so that was the danger there. So, and nothing, of course, it was very, very low key compared to what went on in Europe over the years, the witch hysteria and the accusations. But it did really, really get out of hand. The Salem witch trials, and went on from 1692 to 1693, and many people were sick, and many died in prison as well. 19 people were executed. There was a 20th, Giles Corey, and they took the old English method of pressing to get a conviction. And this man was in his 80s. He was a little past 80 years old. And he would not put in a plea. He would not say he's innocent or guilty, because if he was guilty, they'd take his property. If he was innocent, they'd take his property and could hang them both. But he refused to enter a plea, and said, just said nothing. And finally, they did the old English pressment, and they stripped him down naked, put him near the town square. This 80-something-year-old man, put boards on him, and just kept putting more and more rocks on him. It took him about 3 days to die. and he was parched, and his tongue was sticking out because protruding because of the weight. And the Sheriff Corwin came over took his walking stick and pressed his tongue in when they asked him a final time, "Will you confess?" And he just says, "Put on more weight." That was his last words. "Put on more weight," defying them. So they finally put on more weight, and his chest was crushed and put him out of his misery.
I've got to be honest. Out of all the people I've had here, you know the most information. I never had anybody like you knew the exact dates, you knew the exact number. I've never had anybody know all that information. That is pretty impressive, though. I gotta be honest.
Well, thank you. It's a love of mine. It's a passion of mine. History is quite a passion of mine. I love history, and I would love to know. I would love to investigate more of the history of your beautiful country there. And you have a beautiful country.
I just find it really cool that you know all that information. I mean, obviously, what you said was true. I mean, I've found out before about 19 deaths or whatever, but knowing that you know the exact numbers off by heart and the exact dates, you just know a lot about this stuff. I gotta be honest. It's just pretty impressive, to be honest. I mean, if I
really appreciate you saying so, Jared. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
No, I mean, I've been like, you know, I'm just saying, because I mean, I've obviously heard about this myself, but if I had to like, obviously, if you would just asked me that question, I would have got on my phone here and probably found out about the information again, just to know the date. I already know most of the information, but I wouldn't remember the dates and the numbers. For you to remember that, you're a pretty smart guy. You gotta be honest. I mean, you also remember a lot of the information.
Thank you very much. And if anybody wants to look up the history or comes here to this country, the cemetery is not cordoned off. Anybody can visit the cemetery, which is pretty much down the street from where the Conjuring House is, and you can see where Bathsheba is buried. Her headstone, of course, was so damaged they took it away, like I said. But she died in 1885, May 1st, 1885, and 72 years old, and she died of paralysis. She apparently had a sudden stroke and was paralyzed and died later on that day. But May 25th. But she, is buried in a Christian cemetery next to her husband Judson, and beautiful New England cemetery. And I do hope you get the chance to come there sometime. I hope you do. That would be great.
I do too. I mean, I've recently just started a new job, so hopefully I can get more money, and hopefully, and I did say that I'm starting a savings account where I can save more money and plan for the future.
Right.
But I mean, I just find it like really interesting, because I mean, I've seen loads of videos on YouTube, and I mean loads of videos. I mean, I've seen like some people have gone like, obviously this is a question for you actually, so I mean, I can't answer this because obviously my viewers won't know what I'm talking about. You do know more than me about this, so it's better to ask you. I've seen many videos of people go into the Conjuring House, and some people would say it's no longer haunted, and some people would say it is still haunted. Do you believe the Conjuring House is still haunted today?
Yes, definitely, 100%. 100%. It may not terrorize the family there as it did the Perrin family in the 1970s, but because they lived there from 1971 pretty much till 1980. They lived there almost exactly 10 years. Yes, it doesn't really. Once in a while, somebody will get scratched. They'll get injured or touched and unpleasantly, but it's not as terrifying as it was. But yes, it is still haunted. Definitely, people do see. My brother witnessed this when we were there originally, and because it was our group that actually contacted Ed and Lorraine Warren about what was going on there. Carolyn had called our chairperson of Pyro, Donna, and said that she was dealing with a terrible apparition she had just seen. And so Donna called the Warrens, not to call them in, but to just ask advice. And they said, well, we'll come down and investigate the house with you, and which we were thrilled at. But it is still haunted, because when I've been there, I do get voices recorded on EVP. And also when my wife Sandra and I, the last time we were there together, you could actually hear voices whispering. We couldn't understand what they were saying, but we were doing a documentary there on our experiences there, and you could actually hear the whisperings going on over our heads. So yeah, it is definitely, and you do see people do witness that shadow figure that's very famous
Yeah.
for going through the hallways there. Yes, people have witnessed that. In fact, Corey and Jen's son, when he first came there, he experienced the shadow person. That's it. I'm not staying here. I'm going back home to Maine. But and I don't blame him. You know, it's kind of disturbing when you're sleeping someplace and you've got that.
I mean, if I've got to be honest with you, right, the most freakiest thing that got me into paranormal, right? I've told this to a few people. It just depends who I'm telling it to, because I know I don't like telling it publicly. Because a lot of people, they might not remember, think I'm talking sense. But like when I was really young, I was like 6 or 7. I've told this to so many people. I was playing with toys, right?
Yes.
And I heard like a lady had said to me, "Be quiet."
Oh,
I was
really?
like, "Hey, maybe that's my mum." So I go searching in her bedroom because that's where the voice came from. Was her bedroom. There's no one in there. I went downstairs. I thought maybe it could have been my dad, even though it was definitely a lady who spoke to me. I said, "Did you tell me to be quiet?" He's like, "No." I found out my mum's in work, my sister's out, my brother's out. It was just me and my dad in the house. My dad didn't say it. Who else could have said it if it wasn't my dad? So I went back upstairs and I went in that bedroom and like it was almost as if there was something sitting on the bed. It was like a mark on the bed, as if somebody had just been sitting there.
Oh, really?
And it was that made me want to do this, because I'm thinking, well, there's got to be something out there. And then, there's a load of people then who like, don't believe in God, don't believe in all that crap. That's what they say. I'm thinking, well, it's certainly not crap, because you think about it, and I've talked to many people about this. How do we like function so well? How do we have a mouth? How do we speak? There's no way an explosion can create life. There's no way there was a thing called the Big Bang that
Right.
created life that allows us to speak.
And we just happen to form out of
Exactly.
this, and
There was
it's just
definitely something that made us. I believe there was definitely something that made us, and there is definitely a God out there. And I do believe that, because there's no way science can make this. I don't care who says it. If somebody's going to say an explosion made life, then they are lying through their teeth. Because I know, for example, the way we are formed, we were made.
Oh, yes, yes. The first time when my brother Carl and I were 18 years old, the first time I was in the house that became the Conjuring house, on Round Top Road in Harrisville, I was upstairs. The girls, now I didn't look like I look now. I had long, blonde, fair hair, flaxen hair, and I worked landscaping, so it was naturally bleached, and I was a lot thinner too. They liked the way I looked with the long hair and everything. So they took me upstairs, gave me a tour of the house, but they told me they're really frightened. And this is the room that they huddle in when they're all frightened, and the sisters, sleep together or try to sleep together. And I asked, there was a window next to me that could not be closed. It was the month of August, and I was only 18, but the month of August, and it was so humid that Roger, the father, even tried hitting it with a hammer. It would not close. But you could feel the energy just pulsating and building up. But I did ask them. I said, well, when you're frightened, I asked them, what religion are you? They said, oh, we're Catholic. We're at the Catholic Church. And I said, well, when you're frightened, try calling upon the name of Jesus. As soon as I said the name of Jesus, that window came slamming down, practically shook the room with such force. One of the girls was slapped on the left side of the head, which is indicative of demonic activity. It goes counterclockwise. So she was slapped. Her hair went up. She screamed, sobbing, and somebody hit me, and practically careened off the bed. And I just became so mad that they were being bullied like this. And sure, I was frightened, but I was angry that they were being bullied. So I told them, this thing is afraid of the name of Jesus. Call upon the name of Jesus. When I had said that name 3 times, the activity stopped. The temperature, the room pressure went back to normal instantly. And they looked around and said, it's gone. It's gone. And of course, it didn't leave the house, but it did leave the room. And it's not to my credit. It's what the name I was using that had that power. And of course, then we went down, took some chalk and drew some crosses, and because I didn't have any holy water. But we went downstairs, and we were definitely convinced. My brother had an encounter with the shadow figure there. We were definitely convinced that this was real, that Carolyn was experiencing genuine activity, which is why our chairperson, Donna, contacted the Warrens. So.
I mean, I've got to be honest with you. I mean, back in the day, I was like, and I've actually showed you a picture of it because I've actually got a picture to prove this. And I mean, this picture was really what kicked me off in the paranormal field. I mean,
Hmm.
it was just unbelievable. I went to a graveyard last year, and I caught what was a goat's face on a tree. Now, I never noticed
Oh,
this myself. I never even noticed this. I was recording. I thought, okay, I didn't get no activity. I felt like somebody touched me at the end because I said, in the next 10 seconds, can you touch me if you want me to leave? I felt like
hmm.
something touched my neck. That happened. I still thought nothing of it. I thought maybe a coincidence, maybe a stick fell on my neck.
Yes.
Anyway, I get sent a picture the next day by a fan. His name is Jared King. I'm not sure if you heard of him. He's more popular from Tennessee. His name is Jared King. He sent me a picture. And now this picture was really interesting. It was a picture of what seemed to be a goat's head on a tree. And I was thinking, well, there's no legs. There's no shadow. It's just a picture of a goat's face looking at me. I'm
Really?
thinking, I'm going to show you the picture in a minute. I was
Yes.
thinking, what on earth is going on here? I was thinking, that is literally just a picture of a goat's face looking at me. And he said to me, "This is the devil." I said, "What?" He said, "This is the devil, and he's obviously wants to show you something." I'm thinking, "What do you mean?" And I literally searched this up. I was shocked, and it said apparently the goat's head is supposed to be the apparition of a devil,
Hmm.
and I was shocked. I mean, my dad was on about this, and as I was talking to him about it that night, then the light, it was flickering as if it was
Hmm.
warning me
Yes.
to stop talking about it. And
Hmm.
I thought this was a warning for me not to go back. However, I did go back. I didn't get no
Oh,
activity the second time. But that first time, there was definitely a face in the tree. And I'm actually going to show you that because
yes. I would love
actually,
to see that.
I'm actually going to show you that because I'm honestly confused. Like, it's in my videos. I'm going to have to go down to the comments and click on that timestamp. But it was just something that really, really surprised me. And I mean, with your opinion, I wanted to get yours on this because
Certainly. Certainly.
I believe you would know more about this. I mean, certainly myself at the time, I was scared. And at the time, I was saying to myself, I'm not going to speak about this. Maybe it's a warning not to get involved in this sort of stuff.
Hmm.
But this happened now over a year ago. This happened in October last year. And it
Hmm.
was like October the 14th. So this was ages ago. And I haven't seen anything about it since. So I'm not sure what it was. So I'm hoping to get your opinion on it because you know, some people say it could be a shadow. However, I don't believe that because you can actually see the face, and I'm like, okay, this has scared the hell out of me. I'm gonna show you. Hold on, let me just
Sure.
get the video.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
You know, I believe you know about it. I mean, myself, I personally don't think it's the devil. I'm just telling you what my viewers have told me. Now,
Right.
myself, if I thought it was the devil, I thought something would happen since then. Like, you know, if it was really the devil, I
Right.
wouldn't just show myself on my camera and
Mhm.
disappear.
Yes.
But my viewers believe it could be. So I'm just going to show you because if my viewers are thinking that, why are they thinking it? That's my only opinion.
Mhm.
I mean, myself, I believe it could just be a demon because I don't believe that
Yeah.
only the devil can make a goat's face. I don't know. That's why I'm going to show you. Hold on.
Right.
I'm on my channel now. I'm
Mhm.
just trying to get onto it.
Yeah.
Um, let's get onto my account first of all. Okay, yeah. Okay,
Hmm.
let me go down. I gotta find it. Um,
Yeah. It sounds very interesting.
it is. I'm gonna have to go to the comments and find it because it was in the comments.
Of course,
I
there
filmed
there
this
are
like
lesser spirits. There are spirits that will claim that they are the devil. To
that's
get a
what I was
rise
gonna
to
say.
views.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Because obviously my viewers are like, this is the devil, and I'm thinking, well, other spirits can show themselves in a goat's face. Does it mean it is the devil? Because what my
Right.
opinion was, if this was really the devil, it
Hmm.
wouldn't just show himself on my camera. It would do a lot more worse than that. It would do
Oh
like
yeah.
it
Yeah.
probably it would have attacked me. So I
Yeah.
I was saying it can't be the devil. It honestly can't be. And
Hmm.
then as it flickered the light later that night, and I was telling my parents, I was thinking, well, that can't be right because if it was the devil, why would it not want me to speak about it and but at the same time show itself?
Yes.
Because I
Yeah.
mean, it wouldn't make no sense. Like you don't go and show yourself to a camera
Yes.
for the
Right.
camera to pick you up and then not allow the person to talk about it because it's a reason why you want to be on that camera.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I'm gonna have to show you. I'm literally on that now. I'm just scrolling down.
Hmm.
Past this scary names past that. Okay, I found the video. No, I haven't. I thought I did. Okay, I found the video. All right, let me just pause it.
Okay.
I don't want to have my voice on it, although it wouldn't be copyright. Okay. This is definitely a weird one, so I'm gonna have to go down to the comments. I think I timestamped it. Yes, I did. All right, so at 3 minutes 02. Okay, so you're gonna hear my voice for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm on it. All right, there we go. Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay, so share screen. I don't know if you might have to zoom in. I'm not too sure. I'm going to share the screen so you will see it. Phone tab. Okay, I'm sharing it. There we go. Let's click on it. Full screen. All right, now in the background with the mouse, do you see that on the tree? Is that a face on the tree behind me? Where the mouse is? Do you see it?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Now, I'm not sure what it is. If you look underneath my mask on the left, you can see on the tree, before you go up the path, there's a face on the tree. If you zoom right in, that is a picture of a goat's head.
Oh,
I
yes.
can't explain it. I
Yeah.
honestly myself can't explain it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that could be a calling card, so to speak. Yeah, that could be a demonic calling card. Doesn't mean it's the devil himself, but it could mean that could mean giving you a message. You're being watched. You're being watched, and it's oh, it's funny because you look so innocent there and unassuming, and that thing's right behind you, and
exactly
that could be a horror pick in itself, couldn't it?
It could, and obviously the reason I'm so scared about it is that I actually went there after this. Because obviously this was at the time, this was part 4. I'm going to ignore part 5 because that's a video we don't even speak about because we had somebody in it who isn't a part of the channel no more. But let's talk about part 6 and part 7. I went back at night with my friends. We captured nothing. There was nothing. Mm-hmm. But I'm thinking if I went back on my own now, like let's say I went back next week, would the same apparition appear? I just can't explain. Why would it want to show itself? I don't know.
It's interesting. You were just there. I don't know if you want to say at the right place at the right time or the wrong place at the wrong time, but yeah, it's just at that moment.
I mean, for a year, it's just really, in a way, it's kind of annoyed me because I honestly can't explain what it is. I can't explain. It's there, and the face is looking at me. I'm looking the other way, and it's only because my fan Jared King noticed this. You can see the face behind me, and that's what's made me want to carry on with this because I want to know what that was.
Yeah.
And
well, these spirits, they're opportunists. They're opportunists. You know what I mean? They'll jump at a chance. That's why somebody using an Ouija board, somebody can do it 20 times, 50 times, 100 times, and have nothing. This next door neighbor uses it once, and something happens. You don't know why something happens at a certain time, but these spirits can be opportunists, and they'll take advantage, and they'll take the weakest link. If something, if somebody doesn't have spiritual protection, they'll leap upon them. It's all sorts of reasons, but I think this was something giving you a message. I'm here.
That's what I thought, and that's what I said. Because I was speaking to my dad once, and he wasn't the one who noticed it. He was the one who heard Rosie get mentioned loads of times, but the one that noticed it was Jared King. When I first showed my family, my friends, I was obviously like, what is this? Because there's got to be something. I was thinking, it's a face on a tree. There's no body on it. It's just a face, and it's coming out of that tree. Mm-hmm. But the spirit I was talking to that day was, you see that grave there on the other side?
Right.
That spirit was called Rosie. And only because I was speaking to that spirit did this face decide to appear. So I'm not sure if that face was warning me not to go to the area, or if it was warning me not to speak to that spirit. I'm not sure what it was trying to warn me, but for it to appear, I'm pretty sure it wanted to try and tell me something.
Yeah. Certainly telling you that it's aware of you, your presence there, wasn't it? Yeah, that exact moment. And, we were, I don't know if you recall, I'm sure you've seen the movie The Exorcist.
Yes, I've seen that many times. I've seen that like 3 or 4 times. As their face spins round in a circle.
Yeah, and that's based on that took place in the U.S. in that was actually in the 1949, I believe. It took place in St. Louis, but
Yeah.
it was a little boy. Actually, it was a young boy, and in real life, the head didn't spin around or anything like that.
Yeah.
But that movie has a good point when the priest, Father Karras, visits and says, "Let's introduce ourselves. I'm Father Karras," and
Yeah.
the possessed girl says, "And I'm the devil. Now kindly undo these straps." Now, of course, that's not the real devil, but it's trying to make a mockery, a fool out of him, and it's also trying to brag and put some fear into him too.
Yeah.
Sandra and I were on this is when we were with TAPS, the Atlantic Paranormal Society. We were on a possession case, an actual possession case in Maine, and it was an older woman that was under possession, and she was claiming, and she was speaking French, and fortunately, since my French isn't that good, fortunately her husband was translating, but she did speak in some English too, and said, I asked, she was pretending to be a Canadian Frenchman whose grave had been violated and was buried in the cellar.
Yeah.
And, but as I used some mild religious provocation, she became very defensive. And I asked, in the name of Jesus, are you a human spirit? And she says, no. And I said, in the name of Jesus, what kind of a spirit are you? And she kind of chuckles and laughs. And I said, tell us. And then she screams out, the devil. She screams out, the devil. Now, I don't believe we were in the presence of his satanic majesty. I don't think Satan, Lucifer was there in the room with us. I think we, like you said, get a lot more activity. But that's a show of bravado to scare us. Oh, gee, what are we dealing with?
Yeah,
And plus,
that's exactly what I agree with. But I mean, it's like, if I caught this on camera, it'd be a lot more easier to explain. But like it wasn't later that night. It was later, 3 months later. I didn't find out on the exact day when I recorded it. I found out when the video released, which was like a few days later. So a few days later than that, when I was telling my family about this apparition on the tree,
right,
as I was telling them, the actual light in our house, it was a bedroom light, it was actually flickering. And I was thinking, well, something doesn't even want us to even talk about this thing.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
If it doesn't want me to talk about it, if it doesn't want me to explain it, then why would it show itself on my camera in the first place? I can't explain it. It's just something I can't explain.
And that's a conundrum, because these spirits, the truly evil spirits, diabolical spirits, their power is in their anonymity. If they can remain anonymous, they have power. However, they also like to boast. They also like to boast and show what they are too. So eventually, they will reveal what they are. And I think that's what happened in your case there. And that brings a question I'd like to ask you. What do you do to as a precaution for safety? I mean, other than the ground you're going on, you're not going to fall into a well or something. But what do you do for spiritual safety to make sure that no attachment? I've heard you say these words before leaving an area. You are not allowed to attach yourself to us and so forth. And you do
that's about it. I mean, that's what I've been criticized for. I mean, I don't get criticized often.
Yeah.
But there have been a few people who contacted me and they said, you need to wear protection beams. And I'm actually speaking to somebody right now who wants to wear protection beams. That's what I'm criticized for, not wearing protection beams or not even taking protection. I've gone on many investigations for the past year. I have not protected myself by any sort of means. I've not wore any beams. I've not wore anything. I've not, took anything with me that could prevent anything.
Right.
All I said was a prayer. But so far, that's worked.
I think things like protection beads and crosses, they, if they have been blessed, if they're blessed objects, they can afford some protection, but they can also antagonize some spirits too, of course. But I think the best protection is what you just said, is you pray a sincere, humble prayer.
Well, I believe it is the best protection because it is another little one for you. And this is again, right? Back in the day, I used to, I wouldn't admit this on camera, I've done it before. Back in the day, I used to pray to Satan back in the day. I used to say, look, could I make a deal with you? Because obviously you got these people who are famous, who've made deals with the devil.
Yeah.
And back in the day, I used to think that was cool. You know,
Mhm.
I was like 14 at the time, and I used to think, well, making a deal with the devil seems quite cool. You know, should I
Right.
pray to him? And that's what I used to do back in the day. I used to pray to him, ask him for things in return
Yeah.
for my soul.
Certainly. Right.
And back in the day, I used to do that, and
Mhm.
I feel bad for that
Right.
because I think one day God sent me a message, and it's not a lot to go off, but I think one day He sent me a message to stop praying to Satan, and to realize that He's out there and He can protect me instead. Because
Yes.
I used to catch a bus to school, right? And one morning, me and my friends, we were literally talking about God,
Mhm.
and this could just be a coincidence, but as we got onto the school bus that morning, a song was playing, and it was called "Heaven Is a Place on Earth."
Oh,
For
yes.
for that song to be playing as we just finished talking about God, and that was the only morning we ever sat outside talking about
Mhm.
God. For us to get on that bus and hear "Heaven Is a Place on Earth" was
Yes.
such a coincidence to me, and I still think about that now. How can that song be playing in the exact morning that I was talking about God? I felt
I
like,
I believe it was a
to
message to
myself,
you.
to
God
myself,
used that song as a message to you personally. To you
to
personally.
myself, I felt like that was a message. To myself,
Mhm.
I felt like it was, and since that day, I think it was since that day, I haven't even messed around with something like that. But I believe it was a message to me personally to realize what I was doing was wrong because I
Mhm.
obviously, like I said, I was praying to Satan. I was saying, would you accept my soul in return for this? And
Mhm.
to hear that song when I was talking about God, it kind of showed me that there is a God out there.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. And a
you
lot
don't
of
you don't
people,
always get
yeah.
what you want, but you got to
Yes.
appreciate what you got. And I believe that what that
Well, that's
song was all
good
about.
that at such a young age that was a revelation to you, and I'm very pleased. That and thank you for sharing that. I'm very pleased to hear that did
Yeah,
happen.
well,
I've
that was
known
just something.
people that should know better that they want to do the whole Mephistophelian
Yeah,
trip. Like Mephistopheles. They want to do the Faustian trip, call
I mean,
upon Mephistopheles, and
exactly. And by chance, that could just be a coincidence. But to me, I mean, most people would just say that's a coincidence. Stop talking about it. But to me, I do believe that was a way of him showing me that he knew about it, and he's there. I think it
yeah,
was God's message that he does exist, and all I've got to hear to know that was that song. And because I
yes,
heard that song, I since that day I've just known he's out there. And even if you pray to God today, He doesn't always answer you, but He can definitely hear you. And I think that
yes,
song was a message. You know, because
very
obviously
good.
you think about it, He can't answer everyone because you think about the amount of people who pray to Him every single day. He can't
Yeah.
answer everyone,
Well,
but
I
I
believe
believe that
God's
song.
omnipotent too, so it's that's not
Yeah.
confined to our physical limitations. But I'm very pleased you shared. That's actually a very beautiful story, Jared. Very, very beautiful story.
Well, it wasn't a story; it was a fact. But thank you very,
Yeah,
very
fact.
much.
Yes, right. Yeah,
I
yeah,
I just thought I'd share that because there's just so many reasons, and so many people who would say that God doesn't exist, and sometimes people get stressed out. Even I get stressed out, and I say there
yeah.
isn't a God. But deep down,
Mhm.
when I really think about it, I just know there is.
Yes.
And it's like I said earlier, the way we're made, the way we got a mouth, a nose, the way we breathe, everything
Oh,
on us
yeah.
is functioned in such a way that we must have been created by something. And it
Yeah.
wasn't anything to do with science. I know that for a fact.
I agree. I totally agree. I totally agree. And
You know,
I don't think science necessarily disagrees with faith. I mean, because
yeah,
I think they go hand in hand. They should go
yeah.
hand in hand. I think so. And you mentioned Lizzie Borden earlier. That's
Oh,
an
definitely.
interesting. Yeah, my grandfather actually lived. My grandfather lived to be my mother's father lived to be 93 years old, and he grew
Oh,
up
wow.
in the same community as Lizzie Borden. He
Yeah,
he didn't know her. He didn't know her personally, but he was only less than 5 years old when that event happened,
yeah,
August 4th, 1892, when Lizzie's stepmother and father were found hacked to death by a hatchet. The rhyme says an axe. Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks, but it was actually a hatchet, and they were pretty much obliterated. Her father's face was half his face was gone, and she was accused of it because she became they ruled out everything. She became the most likely suspect, even though she was a 30-year-old woman, unmarried, and living with her father and stepmother. And it's hard to think how a woman who was a Sunday school teacher too in Fall River, Mass, local church, how she could have done such incredible violence and still had no blood on her. Of course, she was found innocent. She was exonerated, found innocent, but the town still judged her. So she went to go back to church. Nobody would sit in the pew with her. Nobody would go near her. Unfortunately, she was ostracized. Yet she never left Fall River. She did. Of course, she had her father's inheritance now. Her eldest sister Emma, moved into a building called Maplecroft, which was a mansion on the other side, the rich side of town. And she never left. But the sister Emma did. She moved to New Hampshire shortly after they moved in, and the Borden sisters never spoke to each other again. Not the day of their death. Spoken, But she's buried right in Fall River, and my family is buried. My grandfather's family is buried almost right next to them. You see the Greens, the Places, the Darlings, all the English names. That's my family, and then there's the Borden plot and everything, and it's quite an interesting story. Mystery that never really been solved. My personal opinion is there was an accomplice. There was an accomplice that probably hid somewhere and committed those things. But, it's interesting. One fact about that, especially, I was, because my wife Sandra and I live in Warwick, Rhode Island, in the names and everything, Warwick, Rhode Island. And we have a famous amusement park at the time. And then the grounds are still supposed to be haunted to this day. But a famous amusement park called Rocky Point, because it's on, it has ledges. It's right on the water, the bay there. And Rocky Point Amusement Park. The day of the murders, August 4th, 1892, the Fall River police were away, Fall River, Mass. They were out on their annual picnic to Rocky Point Amusement Park in Rhode Island. So I think somebody planned ahead. They knew the whole police force was going to be away in that day at their annual outing in Rhode Island. And that's when it happened. So I think somebody had some inside info there and planned ahead,
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I've also got to say, most of these locations from America I know because I used to watch Omar back in the day. Like I said, I haven't watched him since. Do you watch Omar Gosh, just to say?
I've seen some of his things. I've seen some clips and such like that. I never religiously watched him, but I've seen some things.
Oh. But I take it you're not a big fan of Omar then.
No, I'm not.
Oh, right. Okay, good. Because I don't want to say anything that could upset you.
But thank you very much. but no, I know a lot of shows sensationalize, and you can pretty much tell when something's being overdone or sensationalized, or somebody's faking evidence. I've seen that happen a lot. You do see that. It's like and some people, they get very successful. And then they have that pressure that they've got to perform every single week. You've got to come up with a new thing, new activity and everything. And it just doesn't happen that way in the real world.
I know.
Not in the real world,
Exactly, it's mad. I mean, the amount of investigations I've been on is unbelievable. But I mean, it's like I said, the only thing I need to improve on, and I think next year my big target is to not overreact, because I feel like my videos recently, I mean, the ones that certainly haven't released yet, I feel like I've just overreacted to so much. I feel like I've heard the noise, I've just talked about it the whole video, and I feel like my last few videos have just been ruined a bit. I'm not too sure. I have to wait till they releases. I'm still going to release them, but I want to get feedback. But I just feel like I've gone downhill in that way. I feel like I've gone to overreacting so much. I need to just control myself in that level, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, that will come in time. That will certainly come in time. But again, sometimes when I see you react, it's a natural reaction. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a natural reaction. Yeah. It's not staged at all. So that's kind of refreshing to see that.
It's like my newer videos, I just feel like I'm overreacting too much. I feel like I've got too many people in them, and they're just going too far. I mean, 6 people on my team is good amount of people. I'm not getting rid of anyone, of course, because obviously, I'm glad that I have a team this big. I want people to take it seriously like I do. And, if somebody's going to throw something that I can't see on camera, I want them to admit it instead of just chatting things and making it I'm a fool on camera. Because sometimes I feel like certain noises are being made by my team members. I just can't prove it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I feel like, if they're doing that, they just got to admit it and stop doing it. Because, the other day, for example, I hear something thrown, but like as it was thrown, my team member didn't react. And if it was really something out there, my team member would have reacted to it and been like, "Oh yes, that's scary, that is," but they didn't. And I feel like they could have done that. So I don't know. It's just
that's possible, but I mean that's why we try to have as much. We don't always manage this, but as much recording equipment, or of course, I always say you don't have to break the bank with equipment, but just have recorders going, video, so you can see who's where, who's what, who's doing what at the time.
I think you can improve on that next show.
Yeah, real spirits are not always going to cooperate either. I remember Sandra, we were doing this for Paranormal State, the TV series Paranormal State, because we have worked with Ryan Buell and his crew, and he, like I said, he's here this weekend. A great guy, Ryan Buell, and Lorraine worked on Paranormal State too a number of times. But we were filming a schoolhouse episode. This is early on in the series, the schoolhouse episode, and I did a blessing in the house, a clearing, and I said, show me a sign. I said, in the name of Jesus, show me a sign of your departure. Nothing happened. Okay. They turned the cameras off. Shortly after they turned the cameras off, all of a sudden the cupboard door opens by itself and slam, but it wasn't caught on camera. They just turned the cameras off. So, then they're not going to cooperate just because you want them to for the camera, So
exactly. But there was one strange thing. I mean, it's on my Instagram page. I'm not sure if I can show it on Instagram. I could do. But there was something on my Instagram before, and it's on YouTube, of course, as well. But you have to wait ages to see that. I wrote a video, and I said to the spirits. Let me explain this first before I search it up. I said to the spirits, and I've shown this to almost everyone I've been on an interview with. I said, like, you know those K2 meters, EMF meters, what they're called? Right. Well, I was using one, and I counted down from 10. And I said, before I get to 0, can any of you spirits flash this K2 meter to prove you were here? Right? And sometimes in my videos that works. However, this time it was crazy. I was counted down from 10. I got to 3. But before I said 2, instead the spirit box said 2 and the K2 meter flashed. I thought, oh my. I thought I was counting down from 10. And before I even said 2 myself, the spirit said it instead and flashed it at the same time. I'm going to show you now. It was just unbelievable. And I personally, I thought about this. I thought this was just absolutely crazy. Personally, I was absolutely shocked. I could not believe it. I'm going to show you now. Instagram. Let me go on Instagram. But personally, myself, I was just kind of shocked because obviously when I get activity, it happens very rarely. So when I do get it, I'm like, okay, this is a big deal. Because that's what I mean by overreacting. Because I get activity a lot less, when I do get, like, okay, I'm going to share this out big time because I personally think it's something amazing. And what I got was amazing. I'm going to get onto my profile. I'm going to show you now because obviously, again, you would know a little bit more than what I would. So let me go down, find it. It was just unbelievable because I just honestly feel like this. Like, when you get activity sometimes and it's just amazing. Like, it just surprises you.
Yep, once in a while. Yeah.
Once in a while, because I mean, when your video is going so slow, I mean, it's like some of my videos, I don't get activity. So when my activity is so low, and then this happened, it was like it went from being so down there to up there. And I was just shocked. It was like, I'm going to show you the video because I mean, I can't explain it any other way. Well, what's this? Hi Keith, hi Jared. Share this to all our pages, Sandra.
Oh, hello, Sandra. That's my wife, Sandra.
I just realized that. She said I shared it. Hello,
so
Sandra.
She's paying attention. Thank you, Sandra, very
Glad to
much.
meet you. I'm going to make sure I'm subscribed to you, as I'm not too sure I am. Did you share your channel with me?
I believe I did.
Let me just double check.
We're subscribed to each other.
Let me just double check. I can't remember if I did. No, Ghost Ring. I don't know why, but I don't recognize that name. Let me just double check.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe it if I didn't, because I'm pretty sure I did. But,
yeah, Ghost Darnier show.
It's not a show. I mean, I can't find it to start off with. That's weird. Let me search up again. Ghost
Are near.
I just want to make sure I'm subscribed, because I don't like having people on the show that I'm not subscribed to. So let me just double check.
Okay.
I mean, I like to subscribe to everyone, but it annoys me if I'm not subscribed. Oh, I am. Don't worry.
Oh, good.
I good.
Oh, good.
I wanted to check because
there's my brother there. Yeah.
yeah. I just get paranoid if I'm not subscribed, because I feel bad.
Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate it, and I hope you'll be a guest on our show sometime.
Okay, I've just turned on notifications, because that's why I didn't know. I just turned on notifications. So next time you upload, I'll get a notification.
Okay, great. And I hope to have you on as a guest on our show sometime.
Of course. So as long as I'm not working, I mean, I'm free most of the week. Fix your glasses.
Fix your glasses.
My glasses are fixed. Yeah. I mean, I want to double check, but yeah, I just set it up with notifications.
Yeah.
So next time you upload, I'll get a notification. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's more than good. Yeah, I just like to make sure I'm subscribed to people. It's nothing thing. I just like to make sure, because
that's good.
I feel bad I just feel bad because if you guest on my show, I like to be subscribed to you back. So I just turned on notifications. Yeah, let me find that video now. It's here somewhere. It is quite shocking activity, to be honest. And when I first uploaded this, I was like, okay, this is mad. Let me find it. I found it. Okay, are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, now I'm going to put the volume up. I need to grab headphones for this very quickly, so hold on. I got headphones. There we go. I need to grab headphones, because when I do this, my voice goes otherwise. Let me just make sure I can get my headphones in. This is the harder part. Okay. Can you still hear me?
Yes. Yep. Certainly. I can't hear you now, but
you can't hear me
when you talk into it like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. Good. I'm going to share the screen. Okay. So, could you hear the video?
Yes, I can.
Good. 4, 3. You hear that? Clear as day. So did you hear that?
Yes, I heard that. Wow.
It was like I said 3, and then it said 2. I'm going to show it to all the viewers who didn't hear it.
It was helping you out there. It was helping you count down, huh?
It was. That was the mad part. So let me show it to you viewers who might not hear that, in case you've been listening, guys. 4, 3. It also said my name as well, which is also quite shocking.
Wow. Sometimes you just don't know what's around you. You just don't know.
That was certainly just crazy, though. I mean, when I first heard that, I was like, "What on earth?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that is amazing. That was a really good catch there. You had something over your shoulder there. You had something over your shoulder. It was, even though you couldn't see it, it was obviously there.
Yeah,
it truly is an unseen realm.
It is, and I was honestly shocked. I mean, because like I said, I don't capture activity in every video, and then when I do capture it, I get shocked, and that was
Yes.
just shocking. It was like I said 3, and then the spirit said 2, and then also said my name at the same time, and even flashed a K2 meter. That's 3 activities all in one.
Yeah, you were getting some good communication there, which
It was
is why it's good that you always pray that nothing follows you home. That's good when you,
exactly.
especially when you're doing genuine activity.
I mean, sometimes I do forget to pray. Sometimes I do forget. I mean, the last 3 videos I've completely forgotten. But luckily, nothing too bad has happened recently. And I mean, if anything, my recent Necrophonic app is broke, so I need to try and replace my Necrophonic app because my phone is broken. My phone just broke the other day. I was like, oh my no, yeah, this is terrible. I was like, oh my, but my phone just broke. I had to go and get a new one, so I got to get the app again.
Yeah, yeah, you've got to get the app again and everything. And you know who I also like that you've had in the show. I liked Vivian Austin there.
Viv Austin, that's it.
Yeah,
you know him as well.
Wales. Yeah.
You know them? Ah, that's quite interesting. I didn't think you'd seen that.
I saw him. I saw him on your live stream that you had him on as a guest. You know, and I watch his videos now and then. And you know, he's another gentleman that's very, very down to earth, and you know, he doesn't really provoke and to get a reaction, and he's very genuine. You know, like you are. He's very genuine, and that's why I respect him and his team as well. And
thank you. I mean, he's really good, and I'm actually supposed to be recording with him later on this year. I'm supposed to be going to meet him in December, but because we live like 5 hours apart, it's going to cost me a lot of money to get there. So I'm just waiting at the moment. I'm just waiting for, like, you know, until I get good money, then I'll go and visit him. But we are supposed to be recording together.
Yeah, well, you're you're quite a few kilometers away, right? You're south and he's north, so.
That's it. You know more than I do. Yeah, he's in North Wales. He's in Snowdonia. I'm in South Wales in Torfaen, so we are quite far. But I mean, I got a video released now tomorrow, and I feel quite bad for it. I mean, it's a good video, but it wasn't an investigation. Let me explain why. As we were there, the alarms went off, so we ran away.
Oh,
so most of the video, we're just stuck in a town that we couldn't do anything because we went there to visit a location. It was a care home. It was abandoned and it's supposed to be haunted. So we went there, but about 40 seconds in, as you will see tomorrow, because the video uploads tomorrow. It was going to be tonight, but I don't release 2 videos in one day because then people want to watch this. So it's releasing tomorrow. But as he was there, he walks, you know, my friend, he walks further, and I see this big flash. I'm like, okay, what on earth is that? So, just a flash. All I hear then is alarms going off. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So, I hear the alarms are like kind of loud. I realized they're coming from the building we're standing by. Because we went to this building, the alarms just went off. We had to run away. It was unbelievable. Running away from something.
Well, I mean, you know, it's you get fight or flight. You know, the instinct when you hear alarms go off. You know, you get out of there, right?
Yeah, but it was mad because I mean, like, as I first went there, I was told that it was safe to visit. I was told you could even go onto the property. So that's what we done. We went there hoping to go in there, and all of a sudden we just see a flashlight. Like, you know, one of those security cameras you get with like a torch on them that flashes?
Oh, yes, right. Yes, yeah.
Well, there was one of those, and they just went off. And I thought, okay, I just saw a flashlight. Then I hear alarms. We're getting out of here. And that's what happened. And we spent 20 minutes just running away from the alarms. And then we made this second video at the graveyard. But again, that wasn't meant to happen because we was meant to go to the care home. But because the alarms went off, we couldn't do it. But anyway, as I always do, I always release the videos. So tomorrow that's coming out. And I don't know what the reactions are going to be. I'm hoping they'll be good. But at the same time, they might be terrible because if people are going to see me running away, I don't know what they're going to think. So,
yeah.
But I mean, I look forward to it coming out because at the end of the day, running away sometimes has to happen. 'Cause, I mean, you will go past some buildings where the alarms are going to be set, ready to go off. Because I've noticed a difference in America. You guys can find more abandoned places, and the alarms won't be on. But here in the UK, I've noticed that more buildings are boarded up. They have alarms. I'm not sure what the difference is because in America, if a building you go to is abandoned,
Yeah.
I've noticed that the police don't care over there. Like you can just go in and visit. Over here, they take it so seriously. They board up all the windows. They put alarms there. You can't even get into most of them.
Well,
And
they're
then when
probably
you can,
that's good that they take that precaution over there. That's very good, and it's like
it's good, but at the same time, it stops us from recording.
yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. Have you ever heard of I don't know if you've ever heard of Samuel Slater and Slater's Mill. You ever heard of Samuel Slater?
No, I can't say that I have. Who is he?
Samuel Slater was a chap that basically did a lot for our industrial revolution here in America. He came from, he was born in Milltown in Belper, England, in Derbyshire. And he apprenticed in the mills from a young age, when he was just a lad. And he was 14, he started his apprenticeship. And by the time he was 21, the owner of the mill had willed his mill to his sons. So he realized he'd never prosper despite his vast experience. And that was, of course, water power was all secretive and stuff like that, the dynamics of water power. And so he was forbidden by law to share it with other mills, let alone the new America. We just had the war there and everything. But he actually slipped out of England and took all these secrets with him. Nothing written down. It was all memorized. But Samuel Slater was 21 years old. He slipped out of England and came to America, came to New York, then came to Rhode Island. And in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, he started a mill along with Moses Brown, a wealthy Quaker merchant. And it later became known as Slater's Mill. And that was in 1793. He opened the mill. And of course, the first workers were children. And people thought that, some people think that's horrible, but it was, understandable at the time. Children needed to help out their families, poor farm families. But capital fellow, Samuel Slater, very, very nice man. And very, very successful. He became a millionaire in the early 1800s.
Oh, wow.
But Slater Mill is a tourist site today. It's a tourist site. It's been for many years. My brother and I, for well over 10 years, we worked as tour guides at Slater Mill. My brother Carl and I, he worked there first. And he didn't start out with the supposition that it was haunted. It was at an occasion there where he was watching the gift shop downstairs. A wedding was going on. One of the caterers said, "Is your mill haunted, by the way?" He said, "Why do you ask?" It's something just invisible, just practically knocked the tray out of my hand. And then people were getting touched, hearing voices. So my brother said, "It's good probability that this mill is haunted." So he actually did a good cash cow in that. He developed the paranormal program at Slater Mill. So we have the daytime tours. We had the daytime tours where the general public and school children would come in. Very, very busy place. But at night, especially around the Halloween season, he'd do the ghost tours, or Mills and Mysteries, as they came to be known, Haunted Mill City. And Slater Mill, of course, it had to shut down at COVID, and plus it's been taken over by the National Park Service. And our former CEO, Laurie Urso, still manages it there, and it's still open for tours, but of course they don't do the Mills and Mystery ghost tours anymore. But we had many experiences there, and it became very, very famous. And of course, a lot of groups, including ghost hunters, came there and did investigations on their TV show. There's one interesting thing, though, before it became very famous as for being haunted. One of our senior tour guides had just let a group out, and he checked the whole building, and at Slater Mill, nobody was in the building, and he tried to set the alarm system as usually, it wouldn't set. So he tried it again, it still wouldn't set. And he checked the whole building completely empty. So he called the security office and said, I can't set the alarm here at Slater Mill. So they checked it up, and they've got the whole system there. They can map it out, what's going on. And the man came back to the phone and said, "Are you sure you're alone, totally alone in that building?" And he said, "Yes, why?" He said, "Because our sensors show you've got a room full of people marching around upstairs. And so he didn't know what to say. They told him, just lock the building and we'll send a man up tomorrow. So he locked the building and left. The next day, the man came up. Nothing wrong with the security system at all. The motion detectors, nothing wrong with them. So that's just one mystery that was never solved. One mystery
That's
never
quite
solved.
interesting. And I mean, we got some questions here as well. I think.
Oh, you must have many factories and mills and businesses there, and throughout the centuries.
We have loads of things.
So I want to go there. I really would like. I'd love for nothing more than my wife Sandra to be and myself to be able to go there and investigate some of your places.
Well, we have some very, very interesting locations over here. What we do have more than anything is sorry. Hold on 1 minute. What we do have more than anything is we have some very, very interesting pubs as well that I've seen about the Skewed Inn.
Oh yes,
And
yes.
very, very old pubs as well. And that is very, very interesting in general. I mean, the one pub which I went to had 180 deaths. 180.
Oh, really?
It's quite shocking. 180 people were hanged there. And I mean, it's just.
They were hanged at the pub?
Hanged at, well, it wasn't a pub back in the day. Back in the day, it was an old hang house. Now it's a pub.
Okay.
But I mean, it's just
from hang house to pub, right?
It's been there for almost 1,000 years. That's what the most shocking part is.
Oh wow! See that's what I mean about your history compared to ours. That's fascinating. But either way, they have spirits there, right? They're either serving spirits or they have the spirits.
I mean, at one point, you can literally hear what turns out to like you can see me talking, and you can see my friend, but then all of a sudden you hear what turns out to be a girl laughing in the background. I'm like, what on earth is going on here? There's a girl laughing. I did notice this as well. There was a fan who shared this with me. Her name was Shaz. She commented. She said, "I heard so and so." I was like, "What are you on about?" I heard so and so. Okay, let's check it out. And she did. She heard what turned out to be a girl in the background of my video. It was quite shocking.
Really? That voice just came out. So that voice was not necessarily an EVP. It was audible, right? It just did this idea in the background.
That was it. It was hard to explain. I mean, I was there, and I mean, this is really hard to explain. I mean, I didn't even notice this at first, but I was there recording with my mate. It's both at the Skewed Inn. It was called the Skewed Inn. I was there. I hear what turns out to be voices off the spirit box, but as we're leaving, I'm just trying to remember because this was over a year ago. Well, it was about a year ago now. It was last November the 24th, so it's hard to remember. Hold on. I was in the bathroom. That was it, the bathroom. As we were leaving, you can hear a girl going a little laugh behind us, but we didn't even notice this. Nobody noticed it for months. It was like May, which was like 7 months after the video actually released, that a fan said, if you click on this time thing, which is like a thing in the video which you can click on and go to the exact part they're talking about.
Oh yeah.
A timestamp.
Yes.
Well, we clicked on the timestamp, and I listened to it over and over again, and you can hear what turns out to be a girl laughing after I said a certain word, and I was shocked. But the only girl I was speaking to that night was the girl on the spirit box that said to me, her dad had died at that location. It was scary.
Yeah, that is scary. That is scary.
It is scary because it could have been the same girl, but instead of hearing her on the spirit box, I hear her like really like actually on the camera.
Audibly heard that voice. Yes.
That to me was pretty shocking. That was pretty shocking.
That is scary. When you start to get a rapport with the spirit like that, and it's it's right there.
It was mad. It was mad. Yeah. But the only mistake I made that night was there was this room. It was room 3 because there's 3 rooms at this hotel. It was at a pub/hotel.
Right.
Room 3. I went in part 1 and part 2, and part 3. I think I'm not too sure. It could have been just part 1 and part 2. I think this is in part 3. But I went in there, and I go, Fanny Price. That is a weird name, and because I insulted the name Fanny, because obviously Fanny is another word for another word. But because at the same time I insulted the name Fanny, that spirit got aggressive towards me.
Oh, really?
And she threatened to do something. So we had to actually leave the room.
Oh,
So I
wow.
kind of went back in part 6, which was the same night, of course. It was just later on a few hours. I went back, and at that time, I heard nothing. So I felt like the spirit actually forgave me. But that night, I kind of said the name Fanny was a weird name.
Yes.
And I regret saying that. I regret saying it because the spirit, I think, got angry towards me for saying that.
Yeah.
Because at the time I said this, I was in room 2, which was next to room 3. But because I said Fanny Price was a weird name, I reckon she took offense to that. It was just a crazy night. And at the
Did
same
you
time,
apologize?
it was
sometimes
crazy.
sometimes it works if you apologize. I know Roger Perrin dealt with that in the Conjuring house way back when in the 70s, the early 70s, and where he heard footsteps. He was eating his dinner. He was alone in the house, and he heard footsteps coming up the cellar stairs, and the door creaks open. He got mad and said, "Show yourself, you old witch," and it slammed shut. And he said, "Oh, gee, what have I done? I'm so sorry." And he just kept apologizing. And months later, he came down to the basement, came down to the cellar area where they had an old wheel pump, and the belt had fallen off it. And he put that belt back on, and he felt that the spirit was there. And he said, "Listen, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I did. Do you accept my apology?" And touched his shoulders very lightly.
Yeah.
And he said, "You really accept my apology? Please do that again." And it did. So he had made peace, But then again, a lot of spirits are very deceptive too. They can pretend to be anything. So, well, I'm due in a little while. I'm due to do my presentation. Even though I've been talking for 2 hours already, I'm due to do my presentation downstairs.
Yeah, we have. What time is your presentation?
It's 5 o'clock our time.
5 o'clock. So you're 5 hours behind me. Let me guess. You are. Let me guess. If it's not here, are you 4 o'clock over there right now?
Yes. Very good.
Right. So remember, 5 hours behind me. Yes. We'll end this up in just 4 minutes then. So for the last 2 minutes, let's get back to the comments.
Yes.
Again, I haven't been paying much attention to them. I'm a bit. I've seen many. I'm not sure what you've seen many of, but thank you very much. Again, you commented that at 7:41. That was over an hour and a half ago. So I can't remember what we was talking about.
Yeah.
I'd love to go. If you're on about the Conjuring house, I absolutely understand that everybody wants to go there. What's it? I went through that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Awesome, Steve. Thank you, Ricky. I definitely have to do more research on American sightings. American sightings are the most interesting, though, because most of the spirits hunters these days, like, oh my gosh, they all come from America. And it's really interesting. Civil War sightings.
Gettysburg, very, very active. Gettysburg, very, very active from the Civil War. Yes, very, very active.
Gotta be. All right. Thank you there, John. Appreciate it, man. Hello, AJ. How you doing? There's boy game at me. Again, that comment was 8:04. I can't remember what we were talking about. True, bro. Still can't remember what we were talking about. We're sure. I don't remember what we was. Most of these comments, God, he definitely is.
Yes.
We both believe in God here.
Agreed.
I thought Lizzie Borden was just no. Lizzie Borden was real.
Yeah, just like Bathsheba Sherman, she was a real lady. Yeah, real history.
Absolutely was. That comment was 8:36. I don't know what you agreed with. That was Sandra, wasn't it?
Oh yes, yeah, that's dear Sandra. Yes,
that's Sandra. Me again, I'm not sure what you was talking about. That comment was at 8:50. That was 50 minutes ago.
Sounds like Rocky Balboa. Yo, would you say ghosts can enter our body?
I don't know.
I think spirits can enter our bodies, but it's not easy. It doesn't happen all the time. They have to get permission usually, and that's a
That's what I was
long
about to say.
process.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what I was just about to say. You have to give permission for that to happen. Like, you
yeah,
have to say you want to take my soul or whatever. I don't know, but you just
yeah.
certainly it just can't enter your body like that.
Right. Exactly.
No way. No
People
way.
think they can, but they can't. No,
No.
you have to be worn down to the point where you get permission oppressed. So
I mean, if you did get permission, then though, it's your fault. You'd be stupid enough to do that.
yeah. Well, some people do. I want to experience. So.
Oh. How do you guys hear about the crazy numbers of sightings of both American and Civil War soldiers? Yes, I've also heard that near our area, Thomas, is a thing called a Roman lane where people can actually hear the Romans marching, which is quite weird.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's fascinating.
I heard also that Spanish and Portuguese.
Peninsula is an amazing place to see ghosts of those who died in the Napoleonic Wars. Yeah, probably very active with spirits like that. It's probably very, very active. All the tragedy
The only
that
one I
happened.
couldn't read then was Peninsula. I couldn't read
Peninsula.
that.
Yeah.
Ah, is it?
Peninsula. Yeah.
You know more than me. You know more than me.
Something. I wish you'd teach me more of the technical aspects,
Keith, I hope you're enjoying the ones. Okay, much good.
Oh, that's Sandra again. Much good luck with your presentation. Thank you.
Sandra, I also want to say thank you for commenting. But I did promise Keith here we'd end the show in 5 minutes. It's now gone 2:06. So I just want to say before we end this, Keith, of course, thank you for coming onto the show. It's been great having you, and
Very welcome.
just seeing your information in general is just awesome. And knowing you met Ed and Lorraine Warren is just amazing because they're just amazing people.
Yeah, amazing career. They were amazing career, amazing even before they were well known.
Exactly,
very,
and
very long career.
and
thank you for having me on, Jerry.
Oh, it's been great to have you on. There's no worry about that. And just the facts you come up with and the dates that you just know off by heart. I can tell you're obviously a smart guy, and I just wish you the best of luck with your lecture in the next hour. I know you've got to do that, but I just want to say, amazing to have you on. And if I'm ever doing a stream in the future with some special guests, then I'll be sure to invite you on as well.
Thank you very much.
There was a guy supposed to be on here with us tonight called Paul from Ghost Hunter Wales, which is what you was talking about earlier with Vic.
Yes, yeah.
Paul is one of his teammates. But Paul sent me an email at 17:26. He was feeling ill tonight, so he couldn't make it. He was meant to be on with us. It's just great to know, and I hope you enjoy the upcoming videos, and I hope you enjoy Ghost Hunter Wales. And now I've turned on notifications on your channel. I'll see you on your next video.
Okay. Well, thank you,
safe, man.
Thank you, Jared, so much. God bless you.
It's been great having you, man. You're an awesome guy.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you. I'll message you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.